What's up, you guys? Welcome to another episode of Ask Alex, where this is the show where we take your questions and answer them here on this show. I'm your host, Alex Hampton, and today we have a jam-packed show for you guys today. But I could not do this show alone. I'm so glad I have these co-hosts with me. Jeremy, how are you doing today?
Glad to be back, man. I feel like we have a good streak going at this point, so I'm looking forward to keeping this thing going.
Awesome. Me too, man. And Ian, how are you doing today, man?
Man, I'm doing great. I'm blessed and happy to be with my creative Avenger team right here, man. Thank you for doing this team, and I'm glad that we're the dream team.
Amen to that. Yeah, we the dream team, yo. And I'm telling you, like, once we get to a place where it's like huge, we're going to do so many other big things. So I can't wait to explore this path with these guys. And if this is your first time ever watching any of my videos, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Then hit that bell right next to it. That way you get all the notifications of every time I'm releasing a video here on my YouTube channel. And if you want your question or topic on this show, all you have to do is just send me an email at the askalexshow@gmail.com, or that's the askalexshow@gmail.com. If you send me an email with your topic or question for this show, I can guarantee you it could potentially be answered on this show by me and my two amazing panelists. We like to dive into the stuff and talk about the fandom with you guys. So we really do appreciate you guys sending us questions. Let's go ahead and jump into the first question of the day. And the first question comes from a Glenn Burgess. And he writes, "Hey Alex, so it's official. Majority of Sony movies have been pushed back to 2021 due to the current situation that our world is in. However, Venom 2 was pushed back to June 2021, and Spider-Man 3 has been moved to November 2021. My question is, do you think that Tom Holland will make a cameo in Venom 2, given the fact that Venom 2 will come out before Spider-Man 3? Thank you for your question, Glenn. So what Glenn's referring to, literally on Friday, Sony put out a press release about all the stuff that they're pushing back in their Spider-Verse. Venom 2, which got a new title, Let There Be Carnage, and also Spider-Man 3 got pushed back about 5 or 6 months, so it's going to be in November 2021, and then Spider-Verse got pushed back in 2022, and then some other Sony projects as well. To answer your question, Glenn, to be honest with you, I don't know if Tom Holland's going to be in it. If I had to assume, I would say, yeah, I think it's going to be like a cameo, but like the most odd cameo that we may see. Like, I don't think we're going to see like Spider-Man swinging from left to right and saying, oh, there's Venom, bye. I don't think that's going to happen, but I think it's going to be the most subtle cameo that we may see. We may see more of a Tom Holland like being informed that Venom is around. But then again, I don't know. You know, when the first movie came out, it was reported by the late great John Schnepp that Tom Holland was actually on set and shot a couple scenes for Venom. Then it was also reported that Marvel did not want Spider-Man involved in that universe just yet. So we don't know if he's a part of this universe as of right now. But what I can say is that, you know, I will say that their deal with Marvel is slowly changing, and I don't know what it's changing into. You never say never, but I've always said, especially with the whole Venom property, you can't do Venom without Spider-Man. And I've even said about this whole new movie, after Venom beats Carnage, what's next? Like literally, what's next? Like what are you gonna do after that? Like, you can't. If Cletus Cassidy dies, or if the symbiote dies, what are you going to do next for that project? And I've already said what I thought about the title. I think the title's kind of silly. But what do you think, Jeremy? Do you think Tom Holland's going to make a cameo in Venom 2? And also, what do you think about the new title that just came out?
I'm glad you asked about that, because you and I and Ian were all discussing on Ask Alex just a couple weeks ago about the upcoming Venom trailer, where we actually going to get to see a trailer. We're still waiting for it. We did get this confirmation the other day, and I don't know, Let There Be Carnage, it's definitely got a Love and Thunder kind of vibe to it in a way. And the reason why I say that, it's almost like a self-awareness. Like there's a level of winking at us because let there be carnage. If you take it completely earnestly, it sounds pretty dumb. But if they're leaning into making it more of a self-aware kind of silly movie like Venom skirted with at certain times in it,
Yeah.
with the movie. So that's kind of my take on the title. Now, as far as Spider-Man showing up in Venom or Peter Parker or Tom Holland showing up in Venom, I feel like Sony would want nothing more than for that to happen, because what that means is it lends credibility to the universe that is being built outside of the MCU. Right now, as far as I know, maybe I'll be proven wrong when Morbius comes out, but as far as I know, Spider-Man doesn't exist within the Morbius universe, which is the same universe as Venom officially. So in this next movie, all of a sudden Spider-Man is there. It's like, well, now this bridges the gap in a major way. Now all of a sudden, Venom exists in the same world as Captain America does. So that would be huge for Sony. And you're right, John Schnepp did mention that about Tom Holland being on set years ago. So again, I feel like Sony really wants to make this happen. I feel like this is the opportunity to make it happen. And I also feel like you touched on something that is the most important takeaway, and that is the future of Marvel is changing. Sony's relationship and deal with Marvel is changing, and we don't know what that's going to look like. I think Venom 2 is going to be a massive indicator, because I feel like that's going to be the chance to really bring audiences up to speed with how these characters fit into the world together. So it would be really cool to see him show up. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, and that's actually a very interesting point that Jeremy makes. Like, it's like, we don't know what Sony's planning on doing, and it would be great to see Tom Holland to a degree. And he's right. The whole Morbius thing was supposed to be connected with Venom. And now that I think about it, the Vulture was in the Morbius trailer, which is connected to the Tom Holland Spider-Man movie. So it's possible. I would love to see it. But Ian, what do you think about Tom Holland potentially being in Venom 2? And also, what do you think about the new title for Venom, Let There Be Carnage?
All right, I'm glad you guys touched on the Vulture being in the Morbius trailer, because it's going to bring in my world of my answer. But before I answer this, it's going to be a doozy, baby. So let me just get ready. Goodness gracious. All right, I'm in there, baby. All right, let's do this. The Spider-Verse, the whole movie, it's all about oh man, that thing hit me real quick. Sorry. It's all about multiverses.
Yes.
And Avengers Endgame introduced multiverses. Now we're seeing in the Morbius trailer, we're seeing the Vulture, and then we're also seeing signs of Spider-Man in that world. But at the same time, we know Spider-Man is kind of in the MCU. But Spider-Verse introduced different Spider-Mans. The point I'm getting at is, I think they're all connected, but not connected at the same time. So I do think we will eventually get a Tom Holland Spider-Man in a Venom movie, but it might be a different universe Tom Holland Spider-Man, if that makes any sense. It might be Sony's version of it. So I'm thinking that's the only way to do it, because there's no way in Venom or Morbius it'd be impossible not to mention the blip or the snap or whatever they want to call it. So that's what I'm thinking. These are all different universes, and eventually, like a Spider-Verse movie, that Spider-Man from our MCU might clash with all the other Spider-Mans. Fingers crossed. I would love to see Miles Morales and Tom Holland clash, and also in a Venom movie. So that's my theory. It'll eventually happen, but will it be the same Tom Holland? That's yet to be known. And my thoughts on Let There Be Carnage, I don't give a shit. It's corny. But it's not gonna I'm not gonna not watch it, but it is a corny. It sounds like a 5-year-old wrote it.
Yo, that's such an interesting point, because the MCU established the multiverse. Like, we're getting a movie called Doctor Strange, Madness of the Multiverse. So, and even in Spider-Man Far From Home, Even though it wasn't really the multiverse, they introduced that element of the multiverse. And keep in mind, like he said, like he mentioned Miles Morales, we saw Aaron Davis, Miles Morales' uncle in Spider-Man Homecoming. So Miles is out there. We just don't know what iteration or how we're going to see him. I was recently told, well, I wasn't recently told this recently, but I was told this when Far From Home was being promoted, that Miles Morales is going to make a cameo. Obviously that didn't happen, but I think that they are going to establish a Spider-Man universe. And all the people who want to jump in the comics that, yes, we did get a reference of Spider-Man in the Morbius trailer, Tobey Maguire is not going to be in this movie. Stop asking me. He's not going to be in this movie. He doesn't want to be Spider-Man. I don't care what that poster was. And by the way, that poster was from the PS4 Spider-Man game. It has nothing to do with the actual Spider-Man that we know. Like, so calm down with your tweets and with your comments. I just had to point that out there because people kept asking me, like, yo, is Tobey Maguire really going to be in this movie? Because we saw that poster with murder on it. I said, that is a poster from the video game, not anything else. Like, that's all that is. But what do you guys think? Jump into the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. Now let's go ahead and jump into the next question. And the next question is actually a very interesting question that I can't wait to dive into. This question comes from a Taylor Light, and he writes, "Hey Alex, so I want to switch things up. I've never heard your take on anime movies being made into live action movies. What is your favorite anime, and do you think that a live action anime, or do you think an anime will work in live action?" Well, thank you for your question, Taylor. So, I've never really talked about anime on any of my videos, not from Ask Alex or anything. I am a huge Dragon Ball Z fan. I'm a huge Naruto fan. I love The Prince of Tennis. I love Inuyasha. I mean, like, I can go down the line. There's so many animes that I love. There's so many that I hate. Like, I hate One Punch Man. I think that's stupid. I think I hate there's One Piece. I think One Piece is dumb. He has all this power, but he can't swim. But you're a pirate. That happens because he eats a fruit. I don't understand that. Like, but anyway, but personally, I love I love the concept of anime and the stuff that they do. But here's my thing in terms of making them into a live action movie. We all saw Ghost in the Shell. I don't have to explain to you guys how bad that movie is. We all saw the Dragon Ball movie. Again, I don't have to explain to y'all how bad of a movie that is. I've always said that in terms of making a movie, if you have a linear storyline with great actors and just a great cohesive temperature environment, you can tell a great story. The problem is with Hollywood and most studios, they don't, in my opinion, I don't believe they really believe the concept of anime. Prime example, when they did Ghost in the Shell, I love Scarlett Johansson, but she should have never been the main character for that movie. They should have cast an Asian actress for that. And I get the concept of Ghost in the Shell. The bodies are ghosts. They're like that shell. The whole being is her being a ghost. I get that, but she was the headliner for that movie, and it didn't really fit up. It didn't really fit the source material. And I'm not saying you have to stick to the source material 100%. However, when you're doing anime, I think you want to stick to its roots. Now, there are some successful things that have come out live action, like Netflix did Death Note. They did Death Note, which is, it's okay. It's not bad. It's definitely better than what we've seen before. But we've also seen some other stuff that's done in live action that's strictly made in Japan that hasn't really transitioned over to the States. I think, personally, it can happen, but I think studios and creators have to get on the same chord and say, hey, if we're going to tell this story of Naruto, this is how we're going to tell it. Because if you watch anime, and I don't know if you guys really watch anime that much, Anime is all over the place. Like Naruto, like for instance, 90% of Naruto episodes are filler episodes of what he did when he was a kid. And if you're doing a movie, I could care less about what you did as a kid in terms of what you're doing right now. So that's where I kind of see that creativity falling. Personally, I still want to see Akira. Like if anyone's ever read or saw Akira is so cool. They even referenced that in Ready Player One. So I think that it can be done. It just has to be done in a certain way. But instead of me passing it over to Jeremy, I'm definitely going to pass this over to Ian, because Ian made an interesting video about making a live action Dragon Ball movie. Ian, what do you think of, what is your favorite anime, and do you think that an anime can translate well on the big screen?
Is this for me or Jeremy?
It's for you.
Oh, it's for me. Okay. Sorry. All right. So here's my response to that. And it's probably not a popular response, but listen, I'm not that type of movie fan that will shut down a movie before I even seen it. I used to be that guy, and then I realized, wow, it's a really douchey thing to do.
Yeah.
Because I've been proven so wrong. Oh, that's going to be terrible because of that actor. Oh, it's never going to work. You don't know. You don't know the person's vision until you see the final product. So I will never say nothing's going to work before it comes out. With that being said, we do have a track records of anime movies. A lot of them do not work. It's understandable that we have to put the science and the math in this conversation. Majority of them don't work. A lot of people did like Elite the Battle Angel. That's one of the few that I've heard that actually does work. But no, I think it could work. You mentioned that like Scarlett Johansson in Ghost in the Shell wasn't an authentic Asian character, which when it comes to that culture, I do think that does matter. But listen, there's a lot of failures that lead to success, and I think these failures of anime could eventually lead to success. And you also mentioned that a lot of these are over the top. It is over the top. I'm a huge Dragon Ball fan, if you haven't noticed, and the show is about people screaming, instant transmission, flying over the place, shooting balls out of the hands. It's going to be a crazy thing to write. But is it impossible? I'll argue it's not. It's not impossible. We just got to take our time to do it right.
And I actually agree with that, because if you look at, prime example, if you look at Avengers Infinity War, they killed an entire universe. I'm not saying over the top is bad, but it's the way it's written. But Jeremy, what do you think about a studio making an anime movie into live action, and what is your take on anime in general?
Shout out to Inuyasha. That's one of my favorites, actually. I'm a big fan of that. I love Akira. Death Note is probably my favorite, and I've actually seen all of the anime series. I've also seen I think 2 or 3 Japanese live action movie versions of Death Note, as well as Adam Wingard's that you referenced that came out on Netflix a couple years ago. And I don't know, the only thing that probably worked about, I think William Dafoe's performance was pretty solid in the American adaptation of it, but outside of that, I feel like it really missed the mark. Translating anime, and I've kind of spoken to this before, but in animation and certain mediums, you're willing to accept a lot more things. These fantastical elements that you guys are talking about. I mean, what is a season of Naruto's like? 20-something episodes, 30-something episodes. I don't know, but
it's like 100. Like it literally took me like 12 years to finish all of it.
Oh wow! And that just speaks to how much lore you would have to explore to be able to really invest in these characters in the same way that an anime fan is. You've got 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours max to tell these stories. And so what do? You start with the origin story. That's what everybody does. But the origin story of these characters isn't necessarily what is resonating with the fans of the properties. So maybe you could make a Dragon Ball story and just start it right in the middle of the action. Like it starts out and Cell and Goku are fighting each other. And then it's like, how did I get here? And we go back in time, and it's Goku kind of like recounting how he ended up in this fight with Cell. And then in the last act, they like kind of battle. Like there are ways that you can tell these kind of stories in a compelling way, but I feel like and I've said this before, like what people like about video games is the fact that they're interactive. What people like about anime is the fact that it's animated. What people like about live action movies is the fact that they're movies. So, I look at something like Old Boy. Old Boy is a adaptation of a manga, of a graphic novel, and it's fantastic. And the thing about Old Boy, there's no supernatural shit in it. You know what I mean? It's very grounded in our reality. So there are animes that are slice of life, everyday kind of stuff. Like I really like High Score Girl. There's this one about these two girl musicians, and it comes on Netflix. I can't even think of what it's called right now, but I really like it. And because it is grounded in that kind of reality, I think that why not be able to translate it? But when you're talking about these huge science fiction and fantasy epics, even like Akira, like animated wise, that big monster thing, big fleshy mass that's like overtaking the city at the end. But how do you represent that in a live action space and make it make any sense? So I don't know. It definitely is challenging. I do think that it can be done, but like you guys have both addressed so far, it doesn't seem like many people have really been able to efficiently crack the code outside of Korean and Japanese filmmakers who this is their culture, their wheelhouse, and a lot of it does translate better because I feel like they have a better context of the material than maybe Western audiences would.
Yeah, and that's actually a really good point because there are like a lot of those anime shows that we like have been translated into the live action, but they're over in like Japan and some parts of Asia and some parts of China where you can see like I didn't even know there's a Bleach live action movie that's actually produced by Warner Brothers, and it's a Japanese full out movie, and it's actually, I've only seen some of it, but the parts I did see was actually pretty cool. I personally don't think that it translates well over here. However, like Ian, like he said, we don't know until we see it. Like we really don't know till we see it. But what do you guys think? What are your favorite animes? And do you think anime can work in live action? Jump into the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. And I have a final question for you guys today, a really fun question for today. And this question comes from a Randy Black, and he writes, "Hey Alex, what 90s/80s cartoon or series would you like to see made into a movie?" So I'm gonna take you guys all the way back. Thank you for your question, Randy. Man, I love shows like Boomerang, Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, all that good stuff. The show that stands out for me, I only have two, is SWAT Cats. Bro, I used to watch SWAT, and SWAT Cats is before my time. That's what my parents used to watch. My dad put me on SWAT Cats, and I was just like, these are these two cats, really cool cats, and they're superheroes who like save their city, and it's like really cool. If you've never seen it, like I encourage you to Google SWAT Cats. They're really cool. And another one, my second one is Thundercats. I think Thundercats live action would be, or an animated kind of CGI movie would be so cool. And I used to love that mythology. For some reason, Thundercats can't get a good animated TV show. I don't know why. I don't know. But Thundercats and SWAT Cats are really cool. Another one that pops up in my head is obviously Gargoyles from Disney Channel. I think to see a live action of that would be dope. But Jeremy, what 90s TV show or 80s TV show would you like to see made into a movie?
Very good choices, man. I really like the Thundercats. I think that lends itself very nicely to being able to be a cool fantasy epic. Yeah. Fantasy is not always in vogue, but I think thanks to Lord of the Rings and then more recently Witcher and obviously Game of Thrones, that it's a viable genre that there's definitely a niche audience for. I think there's a lot of people out there that would go and turn out to a movie based on Thundercats, as well as, obviously, He-Man Masters of the Universe. I think that's another one that kind of exists in that similar realm where you can build up a nice ensemble cast around it. It's got enough lore that you can kind of mine from what came in the story and the source material before, while presenting it in a way that's interesting, because I feel like there's enough there that it can translate. Like, there's a newer version of Thundercats that's actually pretty cool. You know, it's also animated, but I also come back to that conundrum that I mentioned a minute ago, that like what I liked about the 80s animated series when I was a kid is that I was a kid and they were animated series in the 80s. So a lot of stuff may not translate as well, but then I look at things that Mike Judge has done over the years, whether it be Beavis and Butthead, King of the Hill, Daria, these shows that are actually very grounded in our reality that would have worked just as well as sitcoms as they do as animated stuff, because there is none of that fantastical elements in it. The laws of physics and reality do apply, right? Like in Looney Tunes, if an anvil falls on your head, it's going to like bounce off and they're going to get the big bruise on their head, right? Well, in Arlen and King of the Hill, if an anvil falls on your head, you're going to die from it, you know? So I felt like you could do a pretty cool King of the Hill movie. I saw some fan casting where they were like, yeah, Brad Pitt is Boomhauer, and I can't remember who all the other ones were, but I think you could do a cool King of the Hill or Beavis and Butthead movie. So I would go pay tickets to go see any of those.
Awesome. Ian, what about you? What 90s or 80s TV show or cartoon would you like to see made in a live action movie?
Well, you know, it's crazy. I wrote 5 down, but I'm only going to really push one. But out of the 5, you guys mentioned 2 of them. Gargoyles, which I think Jordan Peele is in talks of doing a live action one. And I actually wrote King of the Hill as well on this paper, so it's crazy. But that wasn't my number one choice. But those 2, the fact that you guys said 2 was my 5 is crazy. I'll mention the other 2. I'm gonna mention my number 1. Recess, Dexter's Lab. But my number 1 pick that I would love to see live action would be Pinky and the Brain. And I think the directors of Pinky and the Brain. And I think the director of 21 Jump Street and Spider-Verse, which was Phil Lord and Chris Miller, I think they would kill that. I think that would be my choice right there, Pinky and the Brain. Because as a kid, I thought those 2 mice or rats or whatever they are were hilarious. And I think they could do that. You know, of course, it would have to be CGI, of course, but it'd be great.
Oh, yeah. Actually, those are some really good choices. King of the Hill, although I was never allowed to watch it as a kid, but I watched it recently. I'm like, yo, that would be amazing. Dexter's Lab would be very interesting. But if you tell Dexter, I want to see an older Dexter. Like, what would he have been like older and still a genius? I think that would be dope. But what do you guys think in the comment section below? Huh?
You think you would have got taller eventually?
Oh, of course. I think so. Because in the show, he's like 3, right? Like,
I don't know how old he is. He's very tiny, and his sister's extremely tall. You would think there might be some misogynistic stuff going on in that household.
Yeah. But what do you guys think? What nostalgic TV show would you like to see made into a movie? And what are your favorite nostalgic 80s or 90s TV shows that you would like to see? Jump into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. And thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Ask Alex. Please like, comment, subscribe to my YouTube channel where you get all the updates of every time I'm putting out a video here on my channel. Jeremy, where can we find you on social media?
Check out Jeremy Be Terrible. Also, you guys make sure that you are subscribed over on Movies Are Terrible, and stay tuned over the next couple of Mondays because we're releasing a special episode of Terrible Movie Trivia where both Ian and Alex compete in a game of MCU trivia. So you guys make sure to head over there, check that out. There's actually lots more terrible content on the way, including a series that I'm working on right now that revisits classically divisive movies like Mortal Kombat, Freddy vs. Jason, things that maybe divided audiences and critics originally, and I'm going through and deciding whether or not they are actually good movies. So, if you guys want to check out some content like that, Movies They're Terrible.
Awesome. Ian, where can we find you on social media?
Man, listen, you got to check me out on Instagram at _controversy or Twitter at _controversy. But what I would really like you to do is please go to my YouTube channel. Hopefully there'll be a link in the description at the Controversy. I like these guys. They got a great setup. They got a great outline. What's going through the future? Me, I'm winging it, baby. Just look out. Who knows? I'm a wild card, baby.
Awesome. And yes, I will put all those links in the description below. Please check out their content. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. And as always,